just the change now with Frank giving up the play calling. How did you find out about it, and what was your reaction?
Yeah, they talked to us about it as a team. Coach Reich told us, and I'm really excited. Coach Reich had talked to us throughout the year, and this was something that even in training camp something that he said was we were always working towards that. He'd made that known, far before even the season started. We didn't necessarily have a timeline when we didn't know when, but we always knew that this was coming, and I'm super excited. I'm excited for the future, and I'm really excited.
What have your interactions been with Thomas Brown up until this point?
Yeah, well, he's always been extremely integral into the day-to-day, into on Sundays and everything that goes throughout it. So he's always around. He's always in this conversation. It's not it's not something that's going to be something that's going to be this big change, because he's always been so integral in everything. He's always the person who we go to, who we consult, who we talk about. He helps build everything, and has always been a huge part of the process. He's always worked a lot with us, and then he's flowed through all the rooms, and he's someone who's really great to work with, who it's great for me to learn from and continue to learn from. It's really exciting.
You guys have done some good things offensively the last couple of weeks, but the wins still aren't there. Do you think a change in play calling was necessary to sort of try to spark you?
I don't think that's a call for me to make. Again, we talked about this. This was always a part of the plan. This was something that, again, Coach Reich had talked about since before the season. Again, we didn't know a timeline, and that's above my pay grade as far as what went on to it. But again, I've been able to work with Coach for this whole time here, being able to experience in the preseason, experience throughout practices, and throughout the off season of just being able to look at how he sees the game and how he views the game, how he calls stuff in practice, how he scripts, how we're always bouncing ideas off him, how he feels about things. Again, the decision part is above my pay grade, but just knowing what it is now moving forward, it's really exciting.
Bryce, how would you describe the impression Thomas Brown has really left on you in the first few months of the two of you working together?
Yeah, no, he's been great to work with. For myself, I think the whole team would echo that. The passion, the fire that he brings to us as a team. He cares. He cares about us as a team, us as individuals. He wants us to be at his best, and it's a mix of him being passionate and caring and wanting to win, and him having pride in that, but him not having an ego where he doesn't. He talks to us. He makes sure that he wants to win at whatever cost it is. It doesn't have to be whatever way. He just wants to be successful, and he talks about that, and then he shows it with how he coaches, how consistent he is day in and day out. He's been the same person every single day, from the interview process for me, and then when we first got here for rookie minicamp till now, he's been the same guy, and having that consistency, and being able to work with him, what he brings to us offensively. Again, I'm really excited.
What has he told you today about how the offense might look different?
We haven't gotten too deep into logistics of exactly what, but again, the offense being built has been a collaboration from the beginning. It's a lot of stuff that it's been a collaboration with TB and Coach Reich, and it's been a lot of stuff that there's a lot of stuff that, again, the stuff that he brought that he's believes in, there's a lot of stuff we've already been doing, and it's going to be the same offense, but of course it's going to be with a different person calling it. With Coach calling, it's going to be different. There's going to be certain things on what that is. We haven't gotten to the logistics of that yet specifically, but again, if there's someone different, there's going to be little differences, of course, but it's still going to be it's going to be the same stuff. He's been integral this whole time. It's not just that he's coming from, he hasn't done anything, and now this whole time he's played a huge role. He's brought a lot of great stuff, and I've been able to learn a lot from him. So I'm excited for that journey to continue.
The energy he brings, that Thomas brings. Corbett was talking about a moment. I was at camp or somewhere where he got in a race, or do you remember the moment, or what happened there, and what did that show you?
Yeah, he was, and it was, there's a moment for camp, and again, it just speaks to the consistency of how he's been, because there's been times you could think of, but I feel like with him, it's less moments of of carrying compassion and being passionate about what he brings. But it's more just it's who he is. You feel every time you have a conversation, every time he coaches us, he's honest, he's encouraging, but also holds us to a high standard. He wants us to be our best, and it translates to the field. He's always running around. He's bringing energy. He's bringing juice. There's nothing that he asks of us, that he demands of us, that he's not going to do himself, and he's not going to lead with. So as a player, when you see a coach that you can tell is putting the work in and brings the same energy, brings the same juice every day, is running around in practice and making sure that he's holding up his part, it makes you just want to follow him even more. And that's something that he's been consistent with, and that's just who he is. So again, this is it's really exciting for the future.
And
Bryce,
what can you remember what that day and what happened there for that?
I
And what your reaction
I think
was?
that's one of those camp confidentials. Sorry about that.
Bryce, you're surrounded by a lot of quarterbacks and former quarterbacks, whether it's Josh, Frank. Is there a difference between a quarterback perspective on this and a former running back's perspective on this?
I think there's always going to be a different perspective, really throughout the building. I think that's one of the unique things about this sport is if you really think about it and you boil it down to it, we all kind of play different sports. We're all united and trying to do the same goal, but, I use this reference at the time, just someone who likes basketball. And as someone who used to play point guard, I've never played center, but I know if someone put me in at center, obviously I wouldn't be great, but I backed someone down before, I've can shoot, I've rebounded, there's a lot of carryover. If I were to go to left tackle, I would have no clue what to do. So I think that's one of the unique parts of the game of we all do view the game a little bit differently, and we all have different experiences to draw from. But with that being said, one thing about TB is just his ability to come into, especially the quarterback room and all the rooms, and him have that knowledge of being from a coach, of seeing it from all different perspectives, all different viewpoints, being able to, and again, I think it speaks to him as well, being able to not just come in with this, he doesn't have some ego of it has to be this way, I'm going to keep this perspective locked. He has an open mind with things. He just wants to win, and whatever it takes to get to that is, he expresses and he shows that's what he wants to do. So, I don't think it's just a quarterback thing. I think just all of us, our experiences, we're going to mold how we see things, and we're all going to see some stuff a little bit differently, but we all have the same goal. We all speak the same language, and we all bounce off of each other with our ideas and experiences. And I think us having in the building, not just him but all the coaches, having little different experiences, it coming together, I think that's a great recipe.
Couple more for Bryce.
Are you going to tweak your bye week plans to spend more time with him, with this transition going on?
Yeah, well, we've talked about our plans that, our plans for the week, which, talked about our plans for the weekend. It's going to be, we're going to take advantage of the days that we have to work, and I think it is going to be an emphasis on just trying to build and grow, and it's going to be, there's going to be some differences and a little bit of changes. So, making sure that we're locked in, myself individually and then us as a team. I think it definitely will be an emphasis. It's a great opportunity for a couple of these days, especially since we get a little bit more of an opportunity to focus on ourselves a couple of these days than you would on a normal week of practice. I think that there definitely will be time spent and a little bit different, just so that we're all on that same accord.
Bryce, Thomas, I remember around the draft talking about when he met with you at the dinner prior to the pro day workout, he said when you broke down your schedule, your weekly schedule, and it took 15 minutes before you got to Wednesday, do you remember a conversation with him where you kind of thought, okay, this is a guy I can work with, this is a guy who has something for me?
Yeah, 100%. It was really it was the first day of rookie minicamp. The one funny, the interesting thing about the interview process, you're kind of getting interviewed the whole time. So you ask some questions and you try to, but it's a while before you get to actually sit down and, people talk about themselves, their philosophies a little bit, but before you get to live it and hear it and then, be a part of the process. And, throughout when we first got there for rookie minicamp and hearing him install, and, we actually spent some time before that, or we spent some time just talking about it at times, and, just being able to have some time to talk about the install. And when you're able to go through the install, not just the X's and O's, But we had some time to sit down one-on-one and talk about the philosophy behind it and the why. And, you know, obviously at that time I'm trying to memorize stuff and figure out what things are called. But when we did that, he took the time to not just say, you know, what this was called and what the name of it was, but why we're doing it, what things are built off of, the reason, you know, for the play calls, when to expect them, what they're for. And that's something that not all play callers do, not all coaches do. Sometimes just, you know what, like, just memorize this, you know, go here to here, and I'll take care of the rest. But that was something that really stood out, was him being able to elaborate and explain the why behind things, his thought process, so that, you know, he could make sure that I was tuned into it and kind of give me that insight into why things were going in. You know, he can you know, we've built since then, and that's something that he always does and is consistent with, which I really appreciate as a player. So that was probably one of the first things that stood out to me.
Anything else? Thanks, Bryce.
Appreciate you guys.
Have a good week.